Hey everybody, it's time to install the Ruger BX trigger into this 1022 right here. Got all the tools, got my fat wrench from Wheeler with an inch-pound torque limiter, got some punches, little extra tools, everything that we need to get started. So let's do it. First things first, make sure this weapon's safe and clear. Remove the magazine and make sure that the chamber is empty. Looks like this one's safe and ready to go. Swapping the triggers on these great little rifles is so quick and easy. You guys are going to love it. One thing you got to do it now or do it later, is to depress the safety to the halfway point. That's so you can get this barreled receiver out of the stock. Now let's grab the fat wrench and take off this barrel band. I'm not going to leave anything out, but I'll speed this up a little bit to save us some time. So just gently get that barrel band off. Now we're going to move on to the takedown screw. So I'm going to grab the handy old Wheeler wrench, and let's remove this takedown screw. It's kind of a long screw, just kind of finesse it out of there. Now, there are some torque specs to this screw that I'll tell you about when we're reassembling the rifle after we install this new trigger. The next step is to remove the stock, so let's make sure that we have the safety in that halfway position so that we can get the stock off of here. So I'd like to set it down, just gently take the stock off and set it aside. And here you go. Here's your barreled receiver, and you can see the old trigger there. We're going to replace it real quick. The next step is to remove these two receiver pins that are holding in the trigger. So I'm using this smaller punch to kind of get them started. I'm going to give them a little push here. Didn't push them out just far enough, so I'm going to get this smaller punch to kind of finesse them the rest of the way out of there. There we go. Just kind of take these out, and this trigger is going to fall right out, and we'll be ready for our new BX trigger to be installed. Get this thing out of here and get this new trigger put in. Pry these two tabs and remove the hammer block. And now we're ready to drop in our new BX trigger. I'm going to put it right in just like we took the old one out. So just line up the trigger with the pin holes, and let's reinsert these two pins. Putting these pins back in is really easy. I didn't have to use the punches or anything, just my fingers. So just line it up, reinsert these pins, just press them in there good and snug. Make sure that distance is equal on either side before we put it back into the stock. This new trigger is going to be crisp and light. It releases at about 2.5 to 3 pounds. It's got a minimal over travel, a positive reset, and it's quick and easy to drop in and install. So now let's put the barrel receiver back into the stock. Nice and snug. Here we go. Let's start the reassembly with this takedown screw, and I'll tell you about the torque specs for this thing. I contacted Ruger customer service, and they recommended 15 to 20 inch-pounds on this screw. So I got my Wheeler fat wrench and set it to 18 pounds, and we're going to reinstall this screw, make sure we get it right down to torque spec. Now, some people will say 15 pounds, others will say as high as 30 pounds, but I like to put it down around 18 inch-pounds, and that's where I like to leave it. 2 pings, and we're ready to go. Last but not least, let's put the barrel band back on. Now, I actually found some interesting stuff about this. Some people just leave it off. Others torque it down to 30, some 15, but I like to use the German version, which is Gudentight. Now, one thing I will say about this front barrel band is that I don't really like the plastic. I kind of like the old school metal kind, and I'm going to try and find a replacement. It just feels cheap, and it kind of flexed and torqued a little bit while I was getting it reattached and tightened down. Now, I am going to make a shooting video comparing this new trigger to the old one. I've already shot some targets with the older trigger, and I'm going to add that footage with the new footage I'm going to make tomorrow, firing this new trigger at the same targets with the same ammo and everything. So we'll see how the new trigger compares to the older one. Now, let me make sure the safety's off now so I can check the function of this trigger. Let's see. Boy, that's nice and light. I really like that. It's crisp, light. Great improvement to this little rifle. I love this. We'll see how well this fires tomorrow. I'm not sponsored by Ruger or anything. I just really like this rifle, and this trigger seems to be a great upgrade that is very inexpensive, very easy to install, and anybody can do it. If you're having some trigger problems with your 1022, I highly recommend this. I hope this video has helped some people with their installation needs. If it's helped you out, please comment and let me know. And if you can, pick up the fat wrench from Wheeler Engineering. It makes life a lot easier. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.